All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another video. All right, y'all, shout out to WMMA Rankings for dropping a little bit more clarity on this one because I was lost on this, man. I was really confused on this. Like, why they would do this to a certain fighter in this position right now. But as y'all know, yesterday I did a video. Jennifer Maia had been recently removed from the UFC because she decided not to renew her contract. So she basically fought out her contract, and that was it. So it wasn't like she just got cut. She just fought out the contract. And I thought from what it was reported that she just chose not to re-sign. Somewhere else it said fighter removed, so I thought she had just got cut. But then it said, okay, the UFC didn't want her anymore in one article. And then in another, it said that Jennifer Maia chose not to re-sign with the UFC. So I'm kind of like, what's going on here? It would seem kind of weird for a fighter like Jennifer Maia to not want to continue to fight on or renew her contract because she wasn't really in a bad position, right? But shout out to WMMA Rankings for they having a chat with Jennifer Maia because this post came from her. I guess they talked to her, but the quote was, "It was the UFC's decision, but maybe it was time for me to think about myself." Okay, so at the bottom here they said, after some conflicting reports, Jennifer Maia sets the record straight regarding her UFC departure. One of the best in the world. We hope to see the former title challenger back in action sooner than later. All right. So, yeah, it looks like it was UFC's decision not to renew her contract, which I find even weirder now because at first when I say it's Jennifer Maia's choice, okay, you would think she might got a better offer with like PFL or Bellator or something like that, right? More money up front, kind of like what Sarah McMahon got. Her manager got her a lot of money with the Bellator contract. So I thought something like that could have happened. So I would say good on Jennifer Maia. She wants to set up her financial future, of course. Then I thought about the family thing. Maybe she just wanted to, take a break, start a family. She's like 35 now. Maybe she wants to go off and do that now, right? That made sense more for Jennifer Maia if she chose not to come back. Sometimes fighters just say, that's it, and the UFC would try to, negotiate with her and say, hey, okay, you want more money, we'll keep you because she still brings a good test, like I said. But for the UFC to not want to re-sign, I do kind of find that strange, man. Even stranger than the Liz Carmouche, because the Liz Carmouche situation, it was kind of like, okay, maybe Dana White really got pissed off at that performance with Valentina Shevchenko, you know what I mean? Because with Jennifer Maia, I've always said that she's got the skills, but she's always kind of let up in some fights, but she's never really put on like a bad fight. Disappointing performances once in a while, or like disappointing moments in a fight, but Jennifer Maia has never really been like this bad fighter that just deserves to get cut. Like she's never a punching bag. She's not really a danger to herself in the cage. She can still hold her own and still give a lot of these girls work and make these girls think twice about who they should be fighting or if they're ready, right? She's always kind of brought that type of style, even if she does come up short. But to me, I didn't never really see something about Jennifer Maia where I said she needs to go because she's still holding her own in the top 15. It's not like she's one of these unranked fighters that's just racking up losses at loss after loss, or she just beats a certain type of fighter, then goes loss after loss. Like, she's not even on that type of pattern, really, right? Now, she has some losses, of course, because she's 21-10, but I think the thing I want to say is that even when she comes up short, she's still a danger to that fighter, right? You still have to fight to beat a fighter like Jennifer Maia, so I don't know the reason why. She just said it was the UFC's decision at this point. I mean, as far as some reasons why, maybe they just feel like she's too much of a danger to certain fighters, a danger that's not really, maybe she's like a danger that's holding the type of fighters they want at the top back. Like the fighters like Manon, they beat her and they move on, right? That's good. So they'll be like, okay, Manon's the next fighter we want to push. Manon's good enough to beat her. She can go in and do what she needs to do. That's fine. But then with these other fighters that they're looking to maybe kind of build up because of the look or because they bring some type of energy, maybe they're not good enough to beat a Jennifer Maia, right? So once Jennifer Maia beats them, and I'm talking about Casey O'Neill, let me go ahead and say it, right? Like a fighter like that, they stop the next hyped fighter like a Casey O'Neill. Maybe they say, oh man, like there goes our next potential cash cow, right? Even though there's not many cash cows in WMMA, but you know what I mean? Like the next potential fighter that brings in more fans for WMMA for what it is. You know, maybe they felt like she can do that, but then she can't do enough to beat the champions or like Tyler Santos. Then what good is it to have this type of fighter in the middle, right? So maybe they felt that type of way, like she's going to keep staying right there in the middle, stopping the fighters that we want to see at the top, but she can't get to the top. She's one of those fighters that's just caught like between a rock and a hard place. You know, she's doing enough to hold it down, but she's not doing enough to get the belt, and she's stopping our potentials that we're really investing in. You know what I mean? Maybe they're thinking that way. So that could be a reason why they decided not to renew her contract. I mean, it's kind of a stupid reason, yeah, because for me, fight fan wise, it would make sense to keep her around because it'll force the next crop of fighters to get good or get better, right? But from a financial standpoint, you know, if they want their next investments and their next best looking fighters to get there, and they want those next type of fighters that look good to get to that top spot, but Jennifer Maia is holding them back, then they might decide not to renew that person's contract, right? That's the only logic I can come up with right now. Like, that would probably be like the real reason why, like, because Jennifer Maia is in that middle position where she's good enough to beat our hype machines, but she's not good enough to beat the champion. So we're going to be just stuck with this fighter here who's 21-10, just being in the way, right? Kind of a nuisance. That's probably what they're thinking right now. But with the UFC thinking that way, that kind of sucks, man, because, you know, Jennifer Maia, again, you know, she's still a formidable opponent, you know, for a lot of these girls. I mean, you know, Viviana Rujo didn't necessarily like blast her out, you know, so this wasn't really the time to me for them to say, okay, it's time for her to go. Like, Jennifer Maia's lost 5 in a row. Shoot, speaking of 5 in a row and 4 in a row, like, let's talk about fighters like Andrea Lee, who was on like a 3-fight losing streak, like Tecia Torres, who was on like a 4-fight losing streak. I love the story how Tecia Torres bounced back from 4 fights and, you know, started winning again. And even Karolina Kowalkiewicz, you know, Karolina Kowalkiewicz goes on a 5-fight losing streak, and they give her a chance. And she's had some bad losses. You know, she's had some bad losses. You know, I'm talking about Jessica Andrade alone. That first round knockout was horrible. It was brutal, right? And then, you know, getting submitted by Claudia Gadelha, then getting, you know, her eye socket broken by Jan Jana, and then taking a beating from Alexa Grasso. You know, she's racked up a lot of brutal losses that were really scary, where I would have said, yeah, it's time to cut her, or let's not renew her contract because she's a danger. But even she's bounced back since then and found her place. So the logic behind cutting Jennifer Maia, like I said, that could be the only reason I think when I mentioned a few minutes ago. But even that's kind of a stupid reason, because she could probably bounce back, because again, she hasn't faced that type of damage. You know, she's not deteriorating. You know, she's not broken up anywhere. Like, she's never faced any type of near career-ending injury like that would force her out the game. She has the potential to bounce back from, you know, any type of loss and get closer to the belt than I think Karolina does at this point. You know, shout out to Karolina. I like what she's doing, but I'm just saying, like, you've had fighters going worse streaks, man, where it's like, yo, let's not renew their contract because I don't want to see this person die in the cage. You know what I mean? Like, Jennifer Maia, to me, is still in a good place. I thought she was in a good place, but that's what it is, fighters. Look, fight fans, I'm talking to y'all and y'all favorite fighters. Don't ever think y'all's favorite fighters are in a great position where they can't get cut. Nobody's safe unless they're really doing work. The only fighters that are safe right now, of course, are the Champ, the Bullet, Manon, and Tyler. All right? And Aaron. Those type of fighters are the only ones safe right now. Shoot. Fighters like Caitlin Chikagan and even Lauren Murphy, they're not necessarily safe right now. You know, Chikagan, she's always been that one to come through for the company and fight everybody. But there'll be a point, too, where they start cutting out the fat and saying, you know what, like, hey, man, this person got to go. And I'm not calling any of them fat, all right? Don't take that the wrong way. You know what I mean? But, yeah, fighters like Lauren Murphy, too, like, they've been there and done that, and they're veterans, but they might say the same thing. Like, hey, Lauren, you got to go. You lose this next fight, you got to go. You know, we won't renew your contract. We got other investments now and other fighters potentials that we want to build up, like the Silver Girls, you know. So yeah, that's what I meant by like the other day too, man. You got to fight like you want it, like scrap over scrap sometime, man, because once you find your place, I think, you know, Dana White, he'll let certain things slide, and, you know, he'll always have your back on certain situations. Like if he sees you always fighting hard and putting on shows and giving it your all, like Karolina Kowalkiewicz, again, this is probably the reason why she's still around, even though she lost 5 in a row, is she's always gave it her all in all those fights. Like there's been disappointing moments in there, but she's always fighting to fight, you know, she's always fighting to win in there. I think Jennifer Maia sits back too much sometimes. For somebody with a lot of skills, Jennifer Maia, she'll sit back too much in a fight and she won't capitalize. And I think sometimes they're like, she's got all this stuff, but she ain't using it. Same with like Andrea Lee, you know, like Andrea Lee, she ain't safe. Those are fighters that ain't safe in here, man. Like you've got to do 2 things. Like I said, you either got to be ready for the belt or you got to be in there putting on bloody wars. You got to be in there putting on wars. You got to be knocking people out. You got to find your lane. Like, you know, you ain't worthy of that belt. You better be in there scrapping. You better be in there scrapping. But I done went off on this video a little longer than I wanted to. But yeah, I'm going to be back on the podcast episode. We're going to talk about this type of situation because it's getting serious for these ladies, man. Like, they think when they get that contract signed, this is it. Like, we made it. Nah, man, you that's where the work starts. And I'm sure y'all know that, but it's like when the contracts ain't being signed again, it's like, oh, I don't know why, you know, I don't know what was going on. Well, when you look at the performances, sometimes that'll speak to you. That'll speak to it because there's always going to be an argument for those fighters. Like with Liz Carmouche, we could say, oh, they did her dirty, but what did she do in that championship fight? You know, and I've been on jobs where I've seen people get terminated at the right time for the managers to say, this is the time we need to get them out. You know, like there have been other times whenever they had to let things slide, but when that moment comes, when that moment comes, they're like, okay, this is the time we can get them. You know what I mean? And the same thing happens in the entertainment world, in the sports world. You know, it don't change. Anytime you want to get rid of somebody, you find in that open. If it's somebody you don't like, you just can't get rid of them because you don't like them, because you don't want a case. But if there's a way to set it up off of a performance or, you know, job performance, then they got you. They got you. They say, okay, this is it then. This is her last fight. She ain't looking good. There we go. She's out. Same with Liz Carmouche. Same situation. Man, she put on a terrible fight against Valentina. Perfect time. Let's get her out. You know, ain't got to be based off 4-fight losing streaks or anything like that. It's a horrible performance. You did us wrong with this type of performance. Perfect. Let's go. You know, so I think that's just what it is at this point, you know. So for fighters like Jennifer Maia, they gotta move forward and start fighting more so like they want it. And the young fighters too, they got to do that. Bad call on, you know, in my opinion. But like I said, I'm just trying to put myself in the position of the company. Like, would I have cut her or would I have not renewed her contract? No, I would have renewed it. I would have renewed her contract because, again, I think she brings a lot to the table still. You know, for me, she does. She's still part of that division. I think they needed her. But, you know, just got to move on from here, y'all. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to come back on for another discussion video here because after reading it on why, you know, that it wasn't her fault, and, you know, it was the UFC's decision, it just kind of made me think about it and say, okay, what are the reasons why? Well, this is probably one of the real reasons why, you know. So, yeah, guys, just wanted to do a quick discussion again on here. Started to jump on live, but we'll see. Maybe I'll talk to y'all live, but I just wanted to get out my thoughts. But let me know in the comment section what y'all think, man. Was it a bad decision on the UFC to cut Jennifer Maia or not renew her contract? You know, what do y'all think? Where do you think she goes from here? Let me know in the comment section. Make sure y'all subscribe to y'all's favorite WMMA channel, Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.